One time in the finals, this is their shot, Toronto Raptors. I am Rachel Nichols alongside the Hall of Famer, Mr. Tracy McGrady. We can sing along, Hungry Eyes,
I just learned something new. I didn't know what they said in that song, so I just learned.
Now we know. There are guys behind
us
who are very hungry.
Right.
And Tracy, you opened this building, former Raptor.
Yeah.
I want you to look at the youngster before you, what you built here as a young pup with Vince Carter. What does it mean to now have a NBA Finals taking place in this building?
I mean, this means everything, because when I first played here, we was playing in the Sky Dome. You do something spectacular, you hear crickets in the arena, right? Because we played in the Dome. This was a hockey town, and we were part of the first franchise that made the playoffs in 1999 with the Vince Carter, myself, and a veteran crew, and we saw the turnaround in the fans in terms of how they appreciated the game of basketball. So, and where it is today, I mean, this is amazing, man. You walk around the city and see the love, and you can feel the energy around this city. And I think the people south of us need to understand how much these fans in this city, pretty much the whole country, appreciate
That's
their
what I was going to say. It's not just the city.
No,
it is the entire country of Canada. We spotted a big country Vancouver Grizzlies throwback today. People are showing out here. This moment means so much to them. Now, I do want to switch over to the Warriors side, because Draymond Green is playing just lights out, some of the best basketball of his career this postseason. I got to sit down with Draymond to discuss him playing with Kevin Durant now, possibly in the future, and not during these opening two games of the finals. His mindset going into these games. Take a look.
Draymond Green may be playing the best offensive basketball of his career.
Draymond Green drills the three.
He's like a wrecking ball, destroying everything in his path.
You are coming into these finals on just an absolute tear, and part of that has been a credit to how in shape you are. How many pounds did you lose in just the last 2 months?
In the last 2 months, I've lost about 25 pounds. It's something that I knew I needed to do. So it took a lot of mental, just focus, more so than anything, willpower, giving up the things that I knew wouldn't be conducive to me reaching the weight that I needed to be at in order to play at the level I've been playing at.
All right, so give us the scoop. What did you give up?
Candy. I love potato chips.
Right.
I gave up chips. Just to know you can give up things that you enjoy,
right,
and have that willpower to continue to say, no, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. It just made me feel more in control of everything.
Your play in the last round and a half is influenced by the fact that Kevin Durant isn't on the court. What does it feel like to finally kind of just get a chance to let your whole game out for at least a round or so?
It's great to show my whole game and show what I'm capable of, but I wouldn't change the sacrifices that I've made and will continue to make for nothing, because we've still reached the goal, and that's what's most important.
The Warriors do it again and advance to their 5th consecutive NBA Finals.
The way you played the last couple weeks, you're not a certainty to win. Is there any more fun in playing when the game feels it's more on the line versus, okay, we are pretty much inevitable here?
And when Kevin's with us, I walk into the arena and I know how this game is going to go. I know we're going to win. When he's not, I'm still extremely confident that we're going to win, but you got to figure a little more out in order to win, as opposed to when he's out there. And so I think it gives you a little more joy initially when you finish that game.
Draymond Green grabbing the basketball, racing down court. Kevin Durant was like, I was asking for the ball. Why didn't you give me the ball? And Draymond Green just went off.
A very public disagreement you guys had back in the fall on the bench against the Clippers. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to him, I said, hey, man, that probably wasn't the right way to handle that. Sometimes I let my emotions get the best of me, and in that situation I did. And he said, everybody keeps saying, oh, Draymond's emotional, and that's just Draymond. And that's an excuse that everyone kind of allow you to have, and I'm not allowing you to use that excuse anymore. And so that was a big step for me. It kind of made me look at things from a different perspective.
His free agency is still an issue. Some of the things you said that night made it seem like you were frustrated with this feeling of holding the franchise hostage. How have those feelings played out through the season?
It wasn't necessarily that him being a free agent bothered me. It was more so the fact of, are you with us or not, that bothered me. One thing Kevin told me is, dude, you have to block out all of that. Like, you see me coming here and work every day. you see me give my all to this team. And it allowed me to focus on what I see, what I can control, and not what I can't see per se, and what I can control.
I know you have a whole NBA Finals to play, but free agency is basically a month away. Do you have a feeling of what he's going to do?
I haven't even really concerned myself with trying to have a feeling with what he's going to do, because our mission is to win a championship every year. And if he's only here for 3 years and we win a championship all 3 of those years, we completed our mission.
All right, Brian, a lot in there, but what stood out?
Great interview, Rachel.
Well, thank you. What stood out to you most from what he said?
He's playing the best basketball of his career, and he's still recruiting Kevin.
I concerned myself with trying to have a feeling with what he's going to do, because our mission is to win a championship every year. And if he's only here for 3 years and we win a championship all 3 of those years, we completed our mission.
All right, Brian, a lot in there, but what stood out?
Great interview, Rachel.
Well, thank you. What stood out to you most from what he said?
He's playing the best basketball of his career, and he's still recruiting Kevin Durant. like these guys, as good as they're playing, as great as Draymond has played, they don't want Kevin to leave. They don't want to even give the hit that they want to believe. This is a guy who got into a huge screaming match with him, and he basically said in this interview, when he's in a position to brag more than ever, it was my fault. The recruitment is full on. It's going to be full on until July 1st.
As it should be.
Well, I mean, look, they might be recruiting him and thinking they still want to play with him, but I thought another thing that was interesting that he said is, look, we know it's a certainty. He said, when I walk in the building with Kevin Durant, I know we're going to win, which is kind of an amazing thing to say, but guess what? They've won 100% of the available NBA titles since they got him, so he's right. He said there is a little bit more joy in the games where they have to work to figure things out. How did that resonate with you?
Well, I mean, you got to think. People were talking about the Golden State Warriors being one of the greatest teams ever assembled when they won 73 games in a season, right? And they ended up losing that championship. So when you acquire a guy like Kevin Durant, who's arguably one of the best 1-2 players in our league, I mean, it's not even fair to the league, because we know what they could do without Kevin Durant, but to add him is just it's unstoppable. It makes them unstoppable. But I feel what Draymond is saying. Without KD, you got to go through that journey. It's more of a tougher task,
right,
a road to go down to the finals of what they accomplished without him. So
you almost feel like you earned it a little bit more, even though, of course, they've earned it either way. But you feel that probably, right?
You feel it. The last 2 championships that the run they've been on, it's kind of been a cakewalk.
Well, no Kevin Durant. Let's be honest. No Kevin Durant tonight. They say he's not likely to be in Game 2. Boogie Cousins, however, is active. He can play tonight. But Tracy, should he play tonight?
Well, like we said earlier on our show, I think there's a favorable matchup for Boogie to get in and get 5 to 10 minutes, and that's being matched up with a guy like Marc Gasol, who I think Boogie, at least he can come in and provide some defense. We're not necessarily looking for him to score the ball, but he can play some defense on a guy like Marc Gasol.
Let's be honest, this is a very difficult position for the Warriors and Steve Kerr to be in.
Yeah.
They respect that Boogie worked so hard to get back from this injury. They respect that he took less money to come play with them for this moment to be in the finals. But they have not played their best with him, and reintegrating him in this environment is probably dangerous. So how do you keep all of those balls in the air? They have a plan. Whether or not it satisfies everybody, we're going to find out.
But I think as a coach, Steve Kerr knows that he can insert him where it really doesn't mess up their chemistry.
Well, it's a pace issue, too. Boogie is a big guy. He is not in game shape. He hasn't played in 4 or 5 weeks. The Warriors want to play with a lot of pace, especially without Kevin Durant in the lineup, and he is not in sync with sort of the style they've been playing for the last 3 weeks. It is going to be interesting.
I think the Raptors will attack him when he comes in the game. I think the Raptors have a game plan for him too.
We'll see. We will see what happens. It's time for a little jump ball here, because I want to talk to you guys about some numbers. Steph and Kawhi, who is the better bet to hit the over tonight? They got the same over-under from Vegas.
Wow.
30.5, 30.5 points. Who you got? Who is more likely to hit the over?
It's got to be Kawhi for the Raptors to win.
Okay.
So I have to go with Kawhi. Steph can have a great game and score 29 points. The other thing is, Kawhi scored 30 points or more in like 12 of their playoff games so far.
Right.
It's a safe bet, I think.
Okay, but you didn't answer the question. Who's going to score more than 30.5 points?
Kawhi. I said Kawhi.
I think Steph will. I think Steph will score more than 30. I've seen this guy go over in the first half and score 33, so I'm going with Steph.
Well, let's talk about his splash brother, Klay Thompson. His over-under is 21.5 points tonight. Brian, what do you think?
Boy, this is a tempting bet. Why did Vegas put this at this spot? They're begging you to take the over.
They are.
They know that the Raptors are terrific on the perimeter defensively. I think the Raptors, Klay's going to have a hard time finding a shot tonight. I think Klay goes under this tonight.
So if I say Steph is going to go over on 30 and Klay go under on 21, that means Toronto will probably win this game.
Right,
and that's why I have to win tonight.
Oh, well, there you go. See, all the math works out for Tracy
That was
McGrady.
a nice web that you
That is
wove.
why he is a Hall of Famer. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We will be back. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. Coming up, the 2018 number 1 overall pick, DeAndre Ayton, is in the house.
Wow.
He is going to stop by set with us. First, though, it's time for a distant replay. What if I told you guys that it was Michael Jeffrey Jordan, but not scoring the basketball? Take a look.
I mean, it's Toronto, Golden State.
At finals time, Michael
At
Jordan
finals
did
time.
something.
I mean, we're showing MJ.
Oh, look at that.